going to read a story by Barbara Enerich called Nickel and Dimed. And this book has been challenged on multiple occasions, but most recently between the years of 2010 and 2012 at the Eastern School District in Pennsylvania. The book was retained on the school's shelves despite a parent's claim the book promotes economic fallacies and socialist ideas, as well as advocating the use of illegal drugs and belittling Christians. The book remains on the high school's advanced placement English reading list. Jenny gave me this book to read, so I'll read from the preface because this tells you the introduction on what actually this book is about. It's kind of interesting. The idea that led to this book arose in comparatively sumptuous circumstances. Louis Lapin, the editor of Harper's, had taken me out for a $30 lunch at some understated French country-style place to discuss future articles I might write for his magazine. I had the salmon and field greens, I think, and was pitching him some ideas having to do with pop culture when the conversation drifted to one of my more favorite themes, poverty. How does anyone live on the wages available to the unskilled? How, in particular, we wondered, were the roughly 4 million women about to be booted into the labor market by welfare reform going to make it on $6 or $7 an hour? Then I said something that I have since had many opportunities to regret. Some went out to do the old-fashioned kind of journalism, go out there and try it for themselves. I meant someone much younger than myself, some hungry, neophyte journalist with time on her hands. But Lapin got this crazy-looking half-smile on his face and ended life as I knew it, for long stretches at least, with a single word: you. The last time anyone had urged me to forsake my normal life for a run-of-the-mill, low-paid job had been in the 70s, when dozens, perhaps hundreds, of 60 radicals started going into the factories to proliferize themselves and organize the working class in the process. Like this girl, I felt sorry for the parents who had paid college tuition for these blue-collar wannabes, and sorry, too, for the people they intended to uplift. In my own family, the low-wage way of life had never been many degrees of separations away. It was close enough, in any case, to make me treasure the glorious, autonomous, if not always well-paid writing style. My sister had been through one of the low-paid jobs after another: phone company, business rep, vacuum worker, receptionist, constantly struggling against what she calls the hopelessness of being a wage slave. My husband, and companion of 17 years, was a $4.50 an hour warehouse worker when I fell in with him, escaping eventually and with huge relief to become an organizer for the Teamsters. My father had been a copper miner. Uncles and grandfathers worked in the mines or for the Union Pacific, so to me, sitting at a desk all day was not only a privilege, but a duty. Something I owed to all those people in my life, living and dead, who had so much more to say than anyone got to hear. Adding to my misgivings, certainly family members keep reminding me unhelpfully that I could do this project after a fashion without leaving my study. I could just pay myself a typical entry-level wage for 8 hours a day, charge myself for room and board, plus some plausible expenses like gas, total up the numbers after a month. With the prevailing wages running at $6 or $7 an hour in my town and rents at $400 a month or more, the numbers might, it seemed to me, just barely work out all right. But if the question was whether a single mother leaving welfare could survive without government assistance in the form of food stamps, Medicaid, and housing and child care subsidies, the answer was well known before I even left the comforts of home. According to the National Coalition for Homelessness in 1998, the year I started this project, it took, on average nationwide, an hourly wage of $8 Center for Public Policy was estimating that the odds against a typical welfare recipient landing a job at such a living wage were about 97 to 1. Why should I bother to confirm these unpleasant facts? As the time when I could no longer avoid the assignment approached, I began to feel a little like the elderly man I once knew who used to calculate to balance his checkbook and then went back and checked the results by redoing each sum by hand. In the end, the only way to overcome my hesitation was by thinking of myself as a scientist, which is, in fact, what I was educated to be. I have a PhD in biology, and I didn't get it by sitting at a desk and fiddling with numbers. In that line of business, you can think all you want, but sooner or later you have to get to the bench and plunge into the everyday chaos of nature, where surprises lurk in the most mundane measurements. Maybe when I got into the project, I would discover some hidden economics in the world of the low-wage worker. After all, almost 30% of the workforce toils for $8 an hour or less, as the Washington-based Economic Policy Institute reported in 1998. They may have found some tricks as yet unknown to me. Maybe I would even be able to detect in myself the bracing psychological effects of getting out of the house, as promised by the wonks who brought us welfare reform. Or, on the other hand, maybe there would be unexpected costs, physical, financial, emotional, to throw off all of my calculations. The only way to find out was to get out there and get my hands dirty. In the spirit of science, I first decided on certain rules and parameters. Rule 1, obviously enough, was that I could not, in my search for jobs, fall back on any skills derived from my education or usual work. Not that there was a lot of want-ads for SAS anyway. 2, I had to take the highest paying job that was offered to me and do my best to hold it. No Marxist ranks or sneaking off to read novels in the ladies' room. 3, I had to take the cheapest accommodations I could find, at least the cheapest that offered an acceptable level of safety and privacy, though my standards in this regards were hazy, and as it turned out, prone to deterioration over time. I tried to stick to these rules, but in the course of the project, all of them went bent or broken at some time. In Key West, Florida, for example, where I began this project in the late spring of 1998, I once promoted myself to be an interview for a waitressing job by telling her I could greet European tourists with the appropriate bonjour or guten tag, but this was the only case in which I drew on any remnant of my actual education. In Minneapolis, my final destination, where I lived in the early summer of 2000, I broke another rule by failing to take the best paying job that was offered, and you will have to judge my reason for doing so yourself. And finally, toward the very end, I did break down and rant, stealthily through and never without hearing of management. She continues on with what she went through. This is chapter 1 of Serving in Florida. Mostly out of laziness, I decided to start my low-wage life in the town nearest to where I actually live, Key West, Florida, which with a population of about 25,000 is elbowing its way up to the status of genuine city. The downside of familiarity, I soon realized, is that it's not easy to go from being a consumer, thoughtlessly throwing money around in exchange for groceries and movies and gas, to being a worker in the very same place. I am terrified, especially at the beginning, of being recognized by some friendly business owner or earnest wild neighbor and having to stammer out some explanation of my project. Happily, though, my fears turned out to be entirely unwarranted. During a month of poverty and toil, no one recognizes my face or my name, which goes unnoticed and for the most part unuttered. In this parallel universe where my father never got out of the mines and I never got through college, I am baby, honey, Blondie, and most commonly rural. My first task is to find a place to live. I figured that if I can earn $7 an hour, which from the one hand seemed doable, I can afford to spend $500 on rent, or maybe, with severe economics, $600, and still have $400 or $500 left over for food and gas. In the Key West area, this pretty much confines me to the flop houses and trailer homes, like the one a pleasingly 15-minute drive from town. It has no air conditioning, no screens, no fan, no television, and by the way of diversion, only the challenge of evading the landlord's Doberman pinscher. The big problem with this place, though, is the rent, which at $6.75 a month is well beyond my reach. Alright, Key West is expensive, but so is New York City, or the Bay Area, or Jackson, Wyoming, or Teleroot, or Boston, or any other place where tourists and the wealthy compete for living space with the people who clean their toilets and fry their hash browns. Still, it is a shock to realize that trailer trash has become, for me, a demographic category to aspire to. So I decided to make the common trade-off between affordability and convenience and go for a $500 a month efficiency, 30 miles up a two-lane highway from the employment opportunities of Key West, meaning 45 minutes if there's no road construction and I don't get caught behind some Sunday's Canadian tourist. I hate the drive along a roadside studded with white crosses commemorating the more effective head-on collisions, but it's a sweet little place, a cabin, more or less, set in a swampy backyard with a converted mobile home where my landlord, the affable TV repairman, lives with his bartender girlfriend. The trailer park would be preferable, but here I have a gleaming white floor and a firm mattress, and the few resident bugs are easily vanquished. The next piece of business is to comb through the want ads and find a job. I rule out various occupants for one reason or another. Hotel front desk clerk, for example, which is, to my surprise, is regarded as unskilled and pays only $6 or $7 an hour. It's eliminated because it involves standing in one spot for 8 hours a day. Waitressing is also something I'd like to avoid because I remember it leaving me bone tired when I was 18, and I'm decades of varicose and back pain beyond that now. Telemarketing, one of the first refuges of the suddenly indigent, can be dismissed on grounds of personality. This leaves certain supermarket jobs such as deli clerk or housekeeping in hotels and guest house, which pays about $7, and I imagine is not too different from what I've been doing part-time in my own home all my life. So I put on what I take to be respectable looking outfit of iron Bermuda shorts and scoop neck t-shirt and set out for a tour of the hotels and supermarkets. Best Western, Econo Lodge, and Hojo's all let me fill out application forms. And there are, to my relief, mostly interested in whether I am a legal resident of the United States and have committed any felonies. My next stop is Winn-Dixie, the supermarket, which turns out to have a particularly onerous application process featuring a 20-minute interview by computer, since apparently no human on the premises is deemed capable of representing the corporation point of view. I am conducted to a large room decorated with posters illustrating how to look professional. It helps to be white and a female permed, and warning of slick promises that union organizers might try to tempt me with. The interview is multiple choice. Do I have anything such as a child care problem that might make it hard for me to get to work on time? Do I think safety on the job is the responsibility of management? And popping up cunningly out of the blue, how many dollars worth of stolen goods have I purchased in the last year? Would I turn in a fellow employee if I caught him stealing? Finally, are you an honest person? Apparently I aced the interview because I am told that all I have to do is show up in some doctor's office tomorrow for a urine test. This seems to be fairly general rule if you want to stack Cheerio boxes or vacuum hotel rooms in chemically fascist America. You have to be willing to squat down and pee in front of a health worker who has no doubt had to do the same thing herself. You wages Winn-Dixie is offering, $6 and a couple of dimes to start, but if they're not enough, I decide to compensate for this indignity. I lunch at Wendy's, where $4.99 gets you unlimited refills at the Mexican part of the super bar. A comforting refried beans and cheese sauce. A teenage employee, seeing me studying Moana, kindly offers me an application form, which I fill out. Oh, here too, the pay is just $6 and change an hour. Then it's off for a round of locally owned inns and guest house in Key West, Old Town, which is where all the serious sightseeing and guzzling goes on. A couple of miles removed from the functional end of the island, where the discount hotels make their home. At the Palms, let's call it, a bouncy manager actually takes me around to see the rooms and meet the current housekeepers, who I note with satisfaction look pretty much like me. Faded ex-hippie types in shorts with long hair pulled back in braids. Mostly, though, no one speaks to me or even looks at me except to prefer an application form. At my last stop, palatial B&B, I wait 20 minutes to meet Max, only to be told that there are no jobs now, but there should be one soon, since nobody lasts more than a couple of weeks. 3 days go by like this, and to my chagrin, no one from the approximately 20 places at which I applied calls me for an interview. I had been vain enough to worry about coming across as too educated for the jobs, I thought, but no one even seems interested in finding out how overqualified I am. Only later will I realize that the want ads are not a reliable measure of the actual jobs available at any particular time. There are, as I should have guessed from Max's comment, the employer's insurance policy against the relentless turnover of low-wage workforce. Most of the big hotels run ads almost continuously, if only to build a supply of applicants to replace the current workers as they drift away or are fired. So finding a job is just a matter of being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, one more minute if you want to finish.
And flexibility enough to take whatever is being offered that day. This finally happens to me at one of the big discount chain hotels where I go, as usual, for housekeeping, and am sent instead to try out as a waitress at the attached family restaurant, a dismal spot looking out on a parking garage, which is featuring Polish sausage and barbecue sauce on this 95-degree day. Philip, the dapper young West Indian, who introduces himself as the manager, interviews me with about as much enthusiasm as if he were a clerk processing me for Medicare. The principal questions being what shifts I can work and when I can start. I mutter about being woefully out of practice as a waitress, but he's already on to the uniform. I'm to show up tomorrow wearing black slacks and black shoes. He'll provide a rust-colored polo shirt with Hearthside, as we'll call the place, embroidered on it. Though I might want to wear my own shirt to get to work, haha. At the work, tomorrow, something between fear and indigestion rises in my chest. I want to say thank you for your time, sir, but this is just an experiment, you know, not my actual life. I think, I haven't finished this book, but it's quite interesting.